Have you ever felt like you're living the same heartbreak on loop? Different faces, different jobs, same pain. That's not failure, that's feedback. Pain isn't just a wound, it's a compass. And the Tao? It always points inward. Because the problem isn't the outer pattern, it's the inner repetition. This video isn't about letting go, it's about letting in, welcoming what you've exiled, listening to what you've silenced, turning toward what you've been taught to outrun, because your shadow doesn't want to destroy you, it wants to be integrated. This is not shadow work, this is shadow partnership. The shadow is not your enemy, it's your forgotten mirror. It's not the devil, it's the drawer you haven't opened in years. The Tao doesn't believe in bad, it believes in imbalance, in what's overemphasized and what's ignored. And what we ignore, it doesn't disappear, it gains power. But what is the shadow really? Carl Jung called it the part of ourselves we do not wish to be. But Taoism offers a twist. It says your shadow is not false. It's just unintegrated. It's the anger you weren't allowed to express, the brilliance you hid to be accepted, the sexual desire you numbed out of shame, the sadness you laughed away, the fire you were told was too much, and all of it still lives in you, not to haunt you, but to complete you. Let's explore where shadows begin and why they linger. As a child, you learn this survival game. Be likable, and you'll be loved. Be quiet, and you'll be safe. Be strong, and you won't be abandoned. So what happened to the parts that weren't likable, or quiet, or strong? They didn't die. They just moved into the dark, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because your nervous system doesn't crave authenticity. It craves belonging, even if it costs you your truth. Your shadow isn't punishing you. It's keeping you on script. Why do you keep attracting the same toxic people? Why do you sabotage good things? Why do you procrastinate your calling? Because your shadow doesn't trust light. It trusts patterns. And pain? Pain is predictable. Your shadow isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to keep it familiar. Practice. The mirror flash. Close your eyes. Think of the person who triggers you the most. Now ask, what part of me are they showing me that I haven't made peace with? This is the shadow's voice. It doesn't scream, it mirrors.
You didn't get rid of it, you just relocated it. The grief, the rage, the shame, the jealousy, the desire, they didn't vanish, they got stored. Stored in your stomach, stored in your shoulders, stored in your nervous system, like unsent letters piling up in the mailbox. Your body remembers, even when your mind forgets. Science now echoes what ancient Taoists whispered. The body holds the score. Trauma isn't just in your story, it's in your spine. Repression isn't letting go, it's pressing down. And what's pressed down presses back. That's not just stress, it's a somatic flashback. Your shadow, whispering through your skin. Ever feel panicked over something small, suddenly angry with no reason, numb in a moment that should have made you weep? That's not irrational, that's somatic memory. That's your shadow surfacing. Not to destroy you, but to say, I'm still here. Practice. Where does it live? Pause right now. Close your eyes. Ask, what emotion do I most avoid? Then ask, where do I feel that in my body? Don't fix it. Just feel it. Tao doesn't demand solutions. It honors sensations. Shadow doesn't want to be healed first. It wants to be witnessed. And once it's seen, it begins to soften.
You're not cursed. You're being given a map, and the trail marker is your pain. Trauma isn't a loop, it's a spiral. You think you've healed it, but it comes back. New partner, new career, same collapse. Why? Because trauma doesn't just repeat, it deepens. Each return is an invitation to respond with less fear, to choose with more awareness, to act from the present, not the past. The Tao calls this wu-wei, effortless alignment with what's true. But you can't align with what you're avoiding. Pain is the part of you still rehearsing. Every pattern is a play. Your role? The overgiver, the invisible one, the saboteur, the runner. You keep rehearsing the part because it's the only script your nervous system trusts. You don't need to break the cycle. You need to ritualize it. Shadow practice. Rewrite the scene. Step 1. Recall your most painful memory loop. Step 2. Write it as a script. Cast the characters. Name the setting. Step 3. Create an alternate ending. Not a perfect one, a true one, where you speak, where you stay, where you walk away with dignity. Now, read it aloud. Feel the old neural path get interrupted. Your shadow was never asking you to forget the past. It was asking you to re-enter it with power. Pain that's not ritualized becomes personality, but pain that's witnessed becomes wisdom. And when you ritualize the pattern, you stop replaying it and start retelling it. Think of the last person who triggered you, the one who ghosted, the one who belittled, the one who abandoned you just like the others did. Now pause and ask not why did they do this to me, but instead, what part of me did they show back to me? Sometimes your shadow hides in the people you choose. Every soulmate is also a shadow mate. Every twin flame carries a spark and a scorch. You attract people based on energy, not on words. That's why you can say, "I want love," but still choose the one who withholds it. It's not because you're broken, it's because you're familiar. The wound chooses, until the witness reclaims the choice. You didn't consciously pick them, your shadow did, because their cruelty matched your old chaos, because their distance echoed your childhood cold, because your nervous system said, "Ah yes, this pain I recognize, let's call it love." Practice. The mirror list. Make 2 columns. On the left, write down 3 people who hurt you deeply. On the right, write what they reflected in you. Maybe it was your silence. Maybe it was your need. Maybe it was your repressed rage. Now circle the ones you still blame. Breathe. Then write this. They held the mirror, but I decide what to keep seeing. The Tao doesn't say, "Forgive them." It whispers, "Reclaim the part of you that let them be your mirror," because when you change the reflection, you shift what enters the room. We live in a culture of fixing, of optimizing, of interrupting. Feel sad? Cheer up. Feel stuck? Hack it. Feel pain? Raise your vibration. But the Tao says, mud must be mud before it becomes lotus. Growth happens in silence, not in speed. Some of your deepest transformation won't look like action. It will look like sleeping too long, staring at walls, crying without cause, turning down the noise. But this is not regression. It's incubation. You are not falling behind. You are rerouting. Healing isn't linear. It's spiral. You'll return to old lessons, but with new eyes. You'll feel triggered again, but respond with less collapse. You'll be tempted to solve the discomfort. But the Tao says,
Let the mud settle. Then the water clears. Practice. The sacred stall. When you feel stuck, don't immediately look for meaning. Don't force momentum. Ask instead, what if I'm supposed to pause here? Place a hand over your chest. Inhale slowly. Say out loud, this stillness is not failure. It's the field before flowering. Let your inner soil breathe. You don't need to outperform your pain. You need to outweight the urge to fix it. Because healing is not a performance. It's a permission. You've been trained to grip, to plan, to pursue. But the Tao whispers, the more you chase it, the more it runs. The more you let it come, the closer it gets. This is not passivity, it's alchemy. What you don't control learns to organize itself. Ever tried solving a Rubik's Cube by force? You twist and twist, but the colors never line up. Now imagine putting it down, letting someone else pick it up, and they solve it without effort. Why? Because they're not entangled with your expectations. That's what happens when you step back from fixing your life. Energy moves more freely when it's not held hostage. You want a relationship to heal? Stop managing their response. You want clarity on your purpose? Stop refreshing your doubts. You want peace? Stop tightening around how, because most of the chaos in your life is not what's happening. It's how tightly you're holding what's happening. Practice the 72-hour window. When you want to react, wait, not forever, just 72 hours. That text, that impulse, that confession, let it breathe. Often, if it's real, it returns softer. If it's shadow, it dissolves quietly. You're not ignoring reality, you're letting it ripen. The observer doesn't retreat. They ripen reality by letting it show its true face. You don't need to play the god of your timeline. You just need to stop crowding the scene. Because when you stop narrating, the real plot reveals itself.
Have you ever said, why does this keep happening to me? How did I end up here again? I thought I healed this already. That's not failure. That's a loop. A shadow loop. Shadow isn't just a wound. It's a screenplay. And it's sneaky. You think it's a new partner, but it's the same power struggle. You think it's a new job, but it's the same unworthiness. You think it's a new spiritual insight, but it's just the ego in new robes, until it's observed. Shadow writes the same ending, with different costumes. The loop feeds on familiar roles. You keep becoming the rescuer, or the overachiever, or the rejected child. You don't do this consciously, you do it reflexively. Why? Because your nervous system would rather repeat pain than risk the unknown. Practice, scene rewind. Choose one painful moment this month. Ask, what role did I automatically step into? Who did I make the villain, the victim, or the savior? When was the first time I felt this setup before? Now try this. Write a new version of the scene. Same players, different response. This isn't about fantasy. It's about breaking the loop. The Tao doesn't fix your past. It updates your participation. Shadow loops lose power when they're watched with curiosity. You don't escape them by resistance. You exit them through awareness. No rage, no shame, just presence. And in that presence, the loop dissolves. Here's a truth no one warns you about. When you begin to integrate your shadow, others might start to panic. Why? Because your old role kept their script alive. You were part of their pattern, just like they were part of yours. You were the fixer, the peacemaker, the black sheep, the rebel. And when you stop playing your role, they feel exposed. Not because you're wrong, but because the scene is collapsing. Most people don't want change. They want predictability, even if it's painful, even if it's toxic. You waking up to yourself feels like betrayal to those still asleep. But that's not your job to fix. Your job is to hold the mirror. not adjust the lighting. Practice energetic exit. Think of someone whose pattern you keep enabling. Ask, what role do I perform that makes their dysfunction comfortable? Imagine gently handing them the script back. Say internally, I release your story from my nervous system. You are not abandoning them. You are exiting the play. Not everyone grows with you, and that's okay. The Tao moves with those who flow, not those who force. Your new rhythm may sound like dissonance to others, but it's harmony to your inner self. And in the final part, we'll talk about what happens when your shadow becomes not a curse, but your most trustworthy guide. Shadow isn't just something to fix, it's something to follow. It guards your gold, it protects your most sacred keys, and when you stop fearing it, it stops chasing you. The shadow is a portal, but it demands your humility. You cannot charm it, you cannot bypass it, you cannot affirmation your way around it. It only responds to honest contact, to the moment you say, okay, I see you. I'm ready to know what you know. Inside every pattern is a gift frozen in time. That rage, it's your boundary trying to be born. That shame, it's your truth buried under someone else's voice. That jealousy, it's your potential screaming, choose me instead. The shadow doesn't punish, it preserves until you're ready. Practice shadow reclamation. List your 3 most hated emotional reactions. For each, ask, if this feeling were a protector, what is it guarding? Place your hand on your chest. Say, you don't have to protect me alone anymore. Let the younger part of you put down the sword. Let your soul pick up the compass. Integration isn't a victory parade. It's a homecoming. The Tao doesn't erase your wounds. It makes them wise. You were never broken, just coded for depth, and the shadow was never trying to destroy you. It was trying, patiently, to lead you home. If any part of you whispered, yes, that's me, then you've already begun the journey, not toward becoming someone new, but toward remembering who's been waiting inside. You don't need more control, you need more contact. You don't need to shine brighter, you need to meet your darkness gently. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be whole. That's the Tao, the path of not fighting, the way of deep watching, the truth of who you've always been when no one's looking, something buried, something ready, and as always, may your next loop be a spiral toward freedom.